Today we're going to talk about grow lights. I get a lot of questions about grow lights. Now, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you've known that I've used Brad's lights from Hidden Harvest Growlights, and unfortunately he stopped producing them. Now, I've only used those because they worked for me. He sent me a couple, they worked awesome, and I love them. But unfortunately we can't get them anymore, and I've got old videos that people still go to and they keep asking, what lights are you using, where can I get them, and I still had the links down there, and they're going to the website. So other people are saying, are there any alternatives, what else do you use? And I haven't really used any, but I do get a lot of grow light manufacturers emailing me and asking me to review their products. Now, I don't want to do a whole lot of reviews on here. I don't want to do that to you guys and just keep getting products and reviewing it. I just like to find what works and to just share it with you. And there's a lot of people out there that are reviewing them. So one that offered to send me one was Spider Farmer, and you guys, if you've been around the internet any and looking at hydroponic stuff, you've probably heard of them. And they had a grow light that was called the SF600, I believe, and it's on Amazon. I'll put the link down in the description. You can go take a look at it. All the specifications are there. There's no sense in me going over all of that. And when they sent me an email, they said that a lot of other influencers and celebrities have used their product and have done reviews. And I just asked them, well, who? And one of the people was Hucho. And we all know Hucho on this channel, right? So I trust Hucho's judgment, and he does all the sciencey stuff and breaks down all the math stuff and everything that we're not going to do on this channel. Like I said, I like to keep stuff simple here, and I'm not going to go over how many lumens are in it and how many square feet it covers. He covers all of that and gives his honest opinion on it, and I really trust that guy. So if you guys want to check out that review of that light, it's down below, and just going over to Hucho's and just say, hey, cool guy. Now when you look at grow lights, there's a lot of different sizes and shapes and colors, and I know that it gets confusing, so I'm going to break this down easy. If you're looking for grow lights, basically, if you're going to spend more money, the better it is, the better the light is. It's something, if you're going to spend a lot of money on a grow light, chances are, if it's got good reviews and that, it's a good light, it's a decent light. Where you run into problems is when you try to do things a little more affordable, which is what we try to do on this channel, right? We're trying to do things on the cheap. So when they start cutting quality and to compensate for the cut in price, there's got to be a little happy balance in there. And some people tend to overstate how good the quality is compared to the money. So they're trying to give you a cheap price, and even though they're going down on the quality of the product, they're still going to overstate it a little bit so that it just makes it sound better and they can make a sale. And I know that's unfortunate. So just watch out when you're looking at things. Usually if it's like really cheap and it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Let's talk about the color, because this is the thing. They didn't have this years ago. It's the color, if you guys have seen it, it's with the new Spectrum. It's red and blue and everything looks purple, right? So I know that looks cool, and when you see it, you see these big hydroponic farms and they've got all these purple lights, and then you go on Amazon and you see you can get purple lights, and are the purple lights better for my plants? And then some people go and buy little cheap tiny purple lights and think that that's going to compensate for the big lights that you usually have, and it just doesn't do it. Now most lights are incandescent, is the entire spectrum, right? That's what we had before, it's just a regular light bulb, and that's why you have fluorescent lights and halogen lights and all these other lights that we used to use for growing. Now LEDs came along, and those were awesome because they used a lot less power and they weren't as hot. So some of the other lights, the halogens, if you got them too close to your plants, it would just cook them. So now some of the LED lights came out. The new technology made them more affordable, and they weren't as hot. And what an LED is basically, it's a little diode. It's called light emitting diode. And you can see these are all the same color. They all look clear, right? What happens is when you pass a current through a diode, a certain voltage will cause a certain color to come on. If it's a red one or a green one or a blue one, they've got different voltages that turn them off, on and off, right? So when you pass a certain current through it, the red one would light up at that current. And if you pass a certain current through a blue one, that blue one would come on. And these have different currents, so they have to pass different amounts of power through different diodes to get red and blue. And if they were going to go ahead and have white and or green and yellow and everything in all the spectrum, they'd have to have all this different current going through and all this electronics. And they thought, well, since the plants only need red and blue, why are we doing all the other colors of the spectrum? So they're using the red and the blue because that's all the plants need. And there's a reason why the diodes, they only work at certain voltages. So it's not like they're taking this light up here and cutting it down to just the red and blue spectrum because it'll be better for the plant. Basically what it came down to was it was better for their cost, so that when they were running electricity through these big vast greenhouses, they weren't paying to light up all the different spectrums of the light, all these different diodes. All they needed were diodes that made red and blue. So that's why you have the little purple color. So just because you guys see a grow light and you just say that it's purple, it doesn't mean that it's better. Basically, if you're just starting out and you don't want to get your head all filled up with all these different numbers and everything, basically the more light you can get on your plant, the better, without cooking them. So that's why we love LEDs. They're low heat. They're not like the big bulky incandescent and halogen lights and that we had before. So they're awesome. And the more light you can get on them, the better. So if you're going to get some of these little plug-in lights, I've seen Honest, one of my friends, ordered a set of downspouts. And they set it up on a rail in the middle of their house, in the middle of the living room, no windows, in the middle of the living room, and set them end to end. So they stretched out, there's two downspouts, and in the middle they clipped a little tiny one of those grow lights with like the octopus that has the different arms on it, 3 or 4 or however many little tiny grow lights. And that little teeny grow light in the middle was supposed to be enough for all of these plants, just because to your eye, when all the lights were off in the house, the plants look purple. And you're like, well, the plants must be getting enough light. They look purple. They look like the pictures that I see. And there's no way a little tiny light like that was going to put out enough light. You think plants throughout history of the earth have got their energy from the sun. So you think about how much energy is coming from the sun and how much light is coming from the sun. And we're going to take those plants and put a little teeny thing that's not much brighter than a couple of candles and think these plants are going to thrive. So more important than the color of the light is just the intensity, is how bright it is. And basically the more light you can get in it, the better. So that's my thought on grow lights. Now if you want to spend a lot of money, like I said, you can go out and spend a ton of money on great grow lights and it'll work fantastic. I'm not dissing anything, but because on this channel we're trying to do things to save you money, right? We're trying to do things on the cheap. A lot of people out there have started with shop lights. Now shop lights are excellent because that's where we used to have the incandescent lights, right? And then they turned to fluorescent. And then we had we all of a sudden we could light up our shops for not that much money and have fluorescent lights all over. Now I know a lot of people out there, before the LED technology came around, were switching to fluorescent lights for growing indoors. In fact, Pepe Fasos, who we've talked about on this channel before, we love Pepe. If you haven't seen 560 Farms, go check it out on Instagram. He started growing microgreens in his sunroom. And he's actually running a business right now and selling microgreens at farmers markets, at the local stores, restaurants. Chefs are using it. He's getting on shows and in the paper and on the news and all kinds of stuff in Australia. And he started in his sunroom. He had a bunch of wire racks and fluorescent lights all the way across the top. It's pretty cool. He had it set up. The microgreens, when they were germinating, were down below or up on top where they didn't need that much light, and he just had, where the lights were is where he would green them up. So the top where the lights would give off a little heat, he'd have them up on top, and the warmth would be like, you know, germination tray, and then he'd bring them down. So it was awesome, and it was just fluorescent lights, and that's how he started. And he's actually running a microgreen business right now, and that's the way he started, and was with fluorescent lights. So if you go to the home improvement store and you go look, they've got 2, 3, 4 foot long, 8 foot long, you know, depends on how big you want them, fluorescent lights, and they're pretty cheap and they work great. Then the cool thing is that they came out with LED fluorescent lights. So they're basically LED lights, but they're shaped like a fluorescent light. And some of them you can go and retrofit some of the old fluorescent light fixtures, and some you just buy a new one. So there's some LED fluorescent lights or fluorescent shaped lights out there. Those work great, but those are a little pricey. So what am I going to do? I don't want to spend a lot of money. I don't have a load of space. I'm going to stop using these. These work great. These were from Brad. I'm going to put those up for now, because if people see them and they go, where do you get those grow lights? I'll be like, you can't. And I don't want to do that to people. So I'm going to put these up. So what I'm going to do is, I want to do things on the cheap. I've found some other shop lights. If you guys see, me and my wife, we'd go and paint murals and paint all kind of stuff in people's houses. And sometimes we'd be in a new construction and they wouldn't have any, the fixtures, light fixtures and everything in yet. So we'd have to bring our own lights. And we used to have the old halogen lights, and then if you back up until you'd like burn yourself. When they came out with LED ones not too long ago, those are awesome. So if you go look in the home improvement stores and you look into lighting, instead of looking in the kitchen and bath section, if you go over to the shop section, and beside the long fluorescent bulbs, they also have the little tiny work lights. Those are great. They run about $20, $30, $40. It depends on how many you get, and you can probably get those and retrofit those on a rack and everything too. Another thing I found is, and we got this like a year ago, and it works great. This is an LED light, and these things go down and it screws right into a regular socket, which is pretty cool. So you can actually get any one of your lights, unscrew it and put that in, and you've got a light like that. Now, you're probably not going to put it up in your living room like that and have your microgreens growing, you know, over in the corner. So what we usually do is take one of these lights, right? It's got the little clamp. These are pretty cheap, and most of them, check them when you go to buy it. The top, the hood unscrews. If you got a small one, you might have to take that off. If you've got a large one of these, you probably leave it on. But for this one, I'm going to have to take this off. And this is all we do, is just take it and we put it on here. Now this one, it folds back down because it's supposed to be hanging up that way. And I'm going to put this on our rack. And this is great because this is a socket and you can clamp it and it comes all ready to go. Let's see if I can plug that in for you. This is, I'm not going to shine it right at the camera, but see, that's pretty darn bright. So it's not purple, right? That's pretty bright. You get a couple of those. I think we paid about $24 for this. These probably like $6 or $7. I'm not sure. But let me see if I shine it that way. That's a pretty bright light. Now I want to show you something I found on Amazon while I was making this video. I went to go look around if they had anything like this on Amazon, because I think we ordered this off Amazon. It was like a year ago, so I want to see what they still had. If you go and look in the home improvement stores around Christmas, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Black Friday last year, they had all kinds of ones like this that were like only like $20, $15, $20, and they have all kinds of shapes and all kinds of LED lights like this available. They had them on Black Friday. I forget what the sale was. It's ungodly cheap on Black Friday, but they had so many that actually at my store there's still some of them out there in the middle of the aisle. So look in the middle aisle, and they're still selling these for like $20 in the home improvement stores. Now I looked on Amazon and I ordered this, and it should be here this week, and then I'm going to go ahead and set it up on a rack and grow some microgreens and that. And actually it's two of these, and that one's got 5 lights on it instead of 4, and it's a pack of 2 for 20 bucks. You can't beat that, right? So that's what we're going to try here. If I get those in and they're anywhere near as bright as this, and I got 2 of those going, this would be cool. It'd be more than enough to grow some microgreens and hopefully some lettuce in that too. So we're going to test that out. 10 bucks a light, you can't beat that. And I'm not dissing all the name brand Growlights and everything. Like I said, if you got the money and you can go out and buy a bunch of stuff, do it and enjoy it. You're gonna, you know, enjoy your harvest and everything. I just don't want to spend $800 to grow $40 worth of lettuce. You know, that's an exaggeration, but my thinking is, you know, that since I'm growing a whole bunch of leafy greens and everything, I want to go ahead and just, you know, do it on the cheap and maybe use my money for something else. So I'll leave a link to this, the 2-pack that's on sale for $19.99 down in the description. You can check that out. After I saw that, I ordered that immediately because 10 bucks for each one of these is just, you know, a cheap price. I can't pass that up. So I didn't look any further, but if you want to, you know, go, usually they share different recommendations down below, and you can surf around Amazon and find some other ones. They might have some better deals than that, but I don't think you're going to find 2 lights for 20 bucks. I don't think you're going to find much better than that. And going back to what we said before, sometimes you get what you pay for. So we're going to find that out. You know, if this is really cheap, is it worth it? You know, if it doesn't work, I'm not worried. I was out 20 bucks or whatever. But I'd rather do that and find something, be happy and find something that might work, instead of going out and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a bunch of different products and not being satisfied with them. Like I said, if you can afford to grow your own food and you're doing it, that's awesome. If you do traditional garden, that's great. You know, if you spend $4,000 on your hydroponics equipment, that's good. If you want to get all kinds of meters and check everything and be on top of your plants 8 hours a day and grow an awesome crop, that's cool. But here, we're trying to show people in an easy and carefree manner that almost everybody, no matter who you are, what you do, you might be a busy soccer mom or be working 80 hours a week, that you can still grow some plants and grow some of your own food. And we hope that everyone in the world at least does some of this, right? So this way, everyone has opportunity to do something like this. And like we said, we can't feed the world, but maybe we can teach the world how to feed itself. Alrighty, you guys get out there, live to inspire, keep on growing, be the change. We'll catch you next time.
Ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba.